Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening. Really glad you're here. You're in for a treat. On behalf of Tish Stewart, Sarah Cates, Rush Hicks, Wes Bulla, and the rest of the faculty, welcome in David Maddox. Glad to see you here, Jim. Glad to see you here. I want to welcome you in for this experience. A very brief word about what the students were required to do. Wait, let me make sure this isn't my wife. When your wife calls, you got to pay attention, boys. Okay, not her. All right. We were looking for a certain mindset when we screened the candidates who were going down there. We wanted, those of you that know anything about South by Southwest know, it can be just a big party. In fact, we were amazed at how many people prioritize that there. And we were looking for people that would someday, all the partiers would work for our students someday, that kind of mindset, about somebody that would go down there and really take advantage of what was offered. So we sat down, first meeting with everybody, and said, what do you want to know about the music business? Blank slate, in a perfect world, what do you want to know? And then everybody identify what they wanted to learn about. And we said, all right, here's the schedule. South by Southwest has posted the panels. Who's got what you want to know? And so our students matched up their desires and their needs and their thirst for knowledge and creativity with the panels that hopefully would provide that. So our students went down there with a plan about the information they were seeking, what they were looking for, besides just having a good time. And believe me, we had a great time. The music killers, and that's definitely part of it. We don't have to apologize for that. But there was very much a plan in place why they were there. They were to tweet out to the community. They are to post a YouTube video about the experience. It's more of a peer piece. But then we also wanted them to come back and educate all of us, faculty, students, everybody, staff, everybody. It was as if we were sending this group of students out from our community, our tribe or our community, to go gather information on breaking trends and what's going on and bring that knowledge back to us. So it was more about them going just for personal gain. But it was also about coming back and enriching us with what they learned down there. So that's why we're here tonight, is for you to hear from the students that went down there about some of the trends that they identified, some of the things that they experienced that they think will be valuable to you. So I'm glad you're here. I think it's going to be a treat, and I'm going to turn it over to John Wiley Coker. John?
I'm a junior music business major in the Burke College of Integrated Music Business at Belmont. And I was one of the students selected for the South by Southwest experience, along with some people in this row and maybe various others in the audience, and then everyone up here. And we'll just go down and introduce each other, or everyone will introduce themselves and kind of say what we hope to initially get out of South by when we went down to Austin.
Okay, I'm Rachel Butz, and my objective to go down there was to go to panels that were that talked about like concert promotion and venues, and also to network with executives that were based in LA, because I'm going to go to Belmont West hopefully, and I want to kind of get contacts with them so I could hope to get an internship down there.
I'm Ashley, and my objective for going was I wanted to work on networking and communication skills. I'm really shy and quiet, so I felt pushing myself in that environment would be a good way to reach potential people to work with in the future.
I'm Ollie Delgado. I wanted to go to all the weird panels, so I went to the ones on like mixtapes and Muslims and hip-hop and regional music scenes and stuff like that.
I'm Rusty Redden. I'm a senior, and I went for like artist management and digital marketing and trends with that, and networking as well.
I'm Kelly Katie. I'm a senior as well, and I went for the international side of things, and specifically international touring.
I'm Tori McDonald, and a lot of my focus was based around marketing.
I'm Elsie Bennett. I'm a songwriting major, and I went from the perspective of a do-it-yourself artist and went to a lot of panels about fan engagement, how to get your music out there, what artists in this area can take from.
My name is Bianca, and I went particularly to focus on digital marketing and also to network and just get to meet other people across the industry that are not, just only based in Nashville. And I'm going to go ahead and actually talk about how the process went as far as getting into the program. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm sure most of us probably heard about it. Curve College put out an email with the new course offerings, and they're hosting an information session. So that's where we all ended up, and because there was such an interest in the class, we all had to apply and send in our resume, and those were reviewed. And the staff was just really looking for people who demonstrated professionalism and innovation, and they really believed that all of us were going to go on this trip and really take advantage of the opportunity and take it for its high value. So what we had to do once we were there is attend 3 different panels each day, and then we had to tweet 3 times a day using the hashtag, and then we all had to attend a showcase each day. And then when we got back, we had to present to all of the Curb College faculty, as well as put together a YouTube video, and then submit a business plan and a reflection of our experience. So if you don't know about South by Southwest, it's a lot more than just a bunch of concerts. There's nearly 50,000 people that go between the film and the interactive and the music parts of the festival. And all day, there's all different panels going on of any topic you could ever imagine. And then even throughout the day, there's also shows going on, and then there's shows going on all night through 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. So we are at panels by day and then all different showcases at night. And I'm actually going to go ahead and show a video that one of the groups put together. And it's all music from artists that we saw while we were there.
And I think you guys caught that, but every song that was played there was actually, I think a lot of us probably went to most of those. I'm obsessed with pop music, so I did. But that's every artist that you heard was at South by, and we saw quite a few of them. If you'd like, and we encourage you to, you can use your phones to tweet during this panel using this hashtag, SXSW, BU South by Southwest. And at the end, it's kind of be an audience Q&A, and then we'll just take whatever's been tweeted. So these are our Twitter handles. So if you have anything in particular, you can tweet at us, or in general, just the hashtag. And we'll go to, I guess, Tori now. I actually had a few conversations with Tori about one panel that we went to in particular called Music Industry and Higher Education. And it's essentially several of the other big music business programs, like Berkeley and Columbia, that sent their music business representatives to talk about their programs. And I just wanted to have Tori tell you some of her thoughts about that panel.
Well, going there, it was really cool to actually hear a lot of the other schools that have the same program as us. Just because you can go online, you can read about it, but it's different when you actually get to hear them talk about it. And honestly, when I was listening to them talk, and this sounds cheesy, but I was really glad that I picked Belmont, because a lot of the things they talked about, they sounded good, but they weren't great. I didn't hear any of them mention how they send kids to New York or to LA. There was only one other school that actually sent kids for a class for South by Southwest, and their motive was completely different than what ours was. So really, in the end, I walked away feeling really glad that I go to Belmont.
And do you want to talk a little bit about parallels between Belmont seminars like this one and South by Southwest panels?
Yeah, if you plan on going to South by Southwest to attend the panels, they're pretty much set up similar to the seminars you go to. Actually, one of the panels I went to, a guy, I can't even remember what company, but he actually spoke at Belmont this past semester, and he was heading up a panel at South by, and he was talking about the similar stuff he talked about here. So you get an idea. I think we went through in our presentation, we put together a bunch of Belmont seminars and how they're similar to South by Southwest panels.
We'll talk about touring a little bit if any of you are interested in that, especially overseas. So as far as touring goes outside of the United States boundaries, are there any really big differences between the two? Kelly can talk a bit about that.
I think the biggest thing to know if you're an artist or a band perhaps and you're looking to go overseas for tour, the first thing to know is obviously European fans have a different sense of loyalty than American fans do. American fans are loyal, obviously, but European fans, if you have a fan base there, you will have a fan base there for the rest of your life. And one way to build that up is, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. But as long as you have that, you can pretty much go over there and make money. But the biggest thing to remember is, like, in America, if you want to be a booker or a promoter, you can pretty much call venues and book your bands, and you can do that for however long you want. You don't have to be affiliated with a company, but if you try to do that in, say, England or France, they don't take you very seriously. It's still possible, but it's incredibly difficult. So if you want to go overseas and tour, you really need to get hooked up with an agent, a promoter that is already based over there who already has those relationships with the venues, because other than any other way is going to be extremely difficult for you to really get your foot in the door over there. And a big way for them to take you on is to have that fan base via YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Build up your fan base, basically, is what that is.
So what's the difference between U.S. bands touring in other countries and then those foreign bands touring here? Are there any strategic differences or big problems that you can?
Yeah. What's funny, the biggest difference that pretty much no one ever really thinks about is tax law, actually. If a U.S. band goes overseas and makes money, they get taxed from the U.S. as they should because it's their income. And then they have this entertainment tax that is an overseas tax, which everyone has to pay. You have to pay it over here too if you play. There's an entertainment tax. But that's pretty much normal. But if a foreign band comes into the U.S., there's so much red tape that they have to go through. There are organizations that I didn't even know existed that exist solely for the purpose of getting visas and tax things taken care of for foreign bands coming into the U.S. There's actually like 3 major ones that are. There's one based out of Nashville, one based out of Chicago, I believe, and another based out of New York that are just huge. And that's legitimately all they do is get visas and tax information for foreign bands coming into the U.S. And it's a huge, huge segment that no one really ever thinks about. If foreign bands come into the U.S. taxes them differently than they tax U.S. acts playing concerts here. So it's actually really problematic for foreign bands to come here. It's incredibly costly. And on the first tour, coming over to the U.S., as a foreign act, you're pretty much guaranteed not to make any money because of the taxes that you're going to have to go through. So it's actually kind of difficult. Kind of wish the government would even that out a little bit, but what are you going to do?
Well, so as an insider's opinion, and I guess everyone here is probably going to want to chime in a little bit, and you guys feel free to write this down, but what are some foreign bands that we need to be on the lookout for?
Okay.
Musically.
Well, yeah, everyone should definitely chime in, but I went to a specific panel that was only about K-pop, and if you guys don't know what K-pop is, you need to get hooked up into what K-pop is. It's Korean pop music, and it's bigger than anyone ever thinks it's going to be. Like, I did not think it was that big a deal, and there are a couple girl groups that are coming over here and playing like House of Blues 2,000 to 3,000 seat venues within a 2 mile, like 3 of them within a 2 mile 200-mile radius of each other and selling them out and like selling tickets for like outrageous amounts of money. So they easily could come over here and play arena dates and still sell out. K-pop is going to be huge. Definitely look out for that. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything, but yeah, definitely check out K-pop.
Any other foreign groups?
Foreign groups?
Just K-pop stuff.
I really went to a lot of rock and roll showcases. I went to like Band of Skulls and Jack White and Alabama Shakes, and so I'm kind of rooted in that because I firmly believe that rock and roll like is kind of like real authentic classic rock and roll is coming back. So like Band of Skulls is definitely one to look out for. They opened up for the Black Keys over in the European tour, and they killed it over there. So.
Another one actually is an English band. I don't even know if they're really classified as a band, but they're kind of a duo that do DJ like Skrillex kind of stuff. But after they build their beats, they then start playing like guitar and piano and stuff along with it. It's kind of a weird, unique experience. They're called the Ghosting Season, if anyone wants to check that out, if that's what you're kind of into, electronic dance. But they're kind of interesting. I think they're going to probably go far in that little niche that they have.
One other big topic that a lot of us included in our presentations and came back from were music blogs. And Elsie's going to talk a little bit about what music blogs really are and why they're an emerging trend, especially for independent artists.
Well, I went to South by Southwest with a perspective as an artist, as a singer-songwriter, trying to figure out how to plug my music in, how to create a fan, how to engage fans, and that's actually a topic that we're going to actually end up talking about quite a bit. But something I really took away from the panels were the importance of music blogs for independent artists, and pretty much what these are independent artists writing about the music they love, sharing the music they love. To me, it's the ultimate fan engagement because it's fans writing about what they see as the new buzz artist or the new buzz band, and they're just really posting about what they love and sharing it. So I think it's great for artists to communicate with fans via music blogs, and it also is just something where a lot of buzz artists are being created. I don't know if any of you, probably a lot of you have heard of artists like Grimes and Lana Del Rey. Well, a lot of their buzz is created via music blogs. And it's funny because it's really great for fans to connect with the people who are writing these music blogs because it creates awesome opportunities, awesome doors to be open to perform at South by Southwest because there was a lot of blogs. If you go to the next slide, there's some blogs like Hipster Runoff. They had a whole little showcase, and Gorilla vs. Bear. These are just like Pitchfork's probably a very common music blog that a lot of you might go to, and these are some great blogs that I really would recommend you guys to start going to, just see what the new buzz artists are. But you can't even go on to Hipster Runoff without saying something about Grimes, and she was like the biggest artist at South by Southwest. So that just shows you that these music blogs are really pushing these independent artists out, getting them buzz. I mean, Lana Del Rey has probably been featured on almost all of these blogs, and she was just on Saturday Night Live and was supposed to be at South by Southwest, but ended up not coming. But yeah, and there's also, there's SiriusXMU, which plays, has even like little sections just for Gorilla vs. Bear has a show on SiriusXMU, so that's radio play. So it was really cool to see how there were even people there that had their own music blogs and were asking questions at the panels about fan engagement and something I really thought, if you could just maybe go to the next slide, I was talking about how it really helps artists. I don't know how many people in here are artists or bands, but I'm sure you guys, if you're not, you want to work with artists and bands. But it really does create like this community of independent artist community online, and it's just great for like I said, fan engagement. But something really neat that I learned about, and if you wanna, is something called the Hype Machine. I don't know who else heard of this. This is an incredible website. I vaguely had heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was. But if I could tell you guys to take away a website, this would be it if you're an artist. And what it is, it's a great resource for artists. What the Hype Machine does is they keep track of what bloggers are blogging about. They handpick MP3s. It's all legal because you can't download anything from it, but you can listen to it, and it directs if you have your music on iTunes or where they can buy it. But they handpick And it's it's like you can have your own dashboard, like Facebook, where it pops up artists that you'd be interested in. But what it's great for artists is that there's a whole huge list of all the bloggers that they work with. So you can go to these blogging sites, go to these sites, click contact, send your MP3, send a little bit of info, connect with music bloggers, get them to post your stuff on their sites. Then who knows, maybe Hype Machine will pick it up. Then who knows, maybe Pitchfork. And then who knows, maybe next year you'll be at South by Southwest. So I really recommend this site for any artists or people who work with artists out there.
Rusty, in our faculty presentations, you talked about artists not just being musicians anymore. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, like kind of what I took away from South by Southwest was that artists don't make just music anymore. They're content generators. Their photos, their videos, their music is made to be in videos or advertisements and kind of be connected with some sort of visual. I think that's just kind of the way we've become. We're a very visual society. And so capitalizing on that, another trend that we all kind of take notice in was do-it-yourself events and venues, house shows, and creating events and physical content just outside of venues in conventional ways. Like we saw lots of people set up on the sidewalks and just created a huge buzz. Like, it was really cool. It was like, who's that? They're playing on the sidewalk. And just thinking outside of the box and being creative with creating content online as well as physically. And we'll talk about, I'm sure, talk about stage a little bit more and the growing buzz of online shows. And so that's another thing to look into.
Everyone's obviously seen the massive explosion of dubstep, but that's not really the only genre that relies heavily on electronics for their experience both live and in the studio. And Rich was going to tell us a little bit about what electronic acts that she saw and what they did to make the live experience special.
There's like a lot of like chill wave, dream pop, electronic pop bands that are emerging, and to the ones that I saw that really did a really good job playing live, given that a lot of their music was just made on a laptop, was Pewtering and Grimes. And Pewtering, they're kind of like electronic dream pop. It's just a duo, and they played inside of a church, and they had them shut off all of the lights, and we're all sitting in pews, and they had these lamps like everywhere that were orchestrated to like turn on with their music. And it was all kind of like do-it-yourself stuff that they created. And the lead singer, she had a bass drum every time she hit it. The light went on, and it was really cool. Like, they really like captured everybody's attention for being a small duo. And then Grimes, obviously, she was really amazing. She's like a one-woman show. She just goes around playing her keyboard, looping, turning knobs, like dancing. She's really crazy. But so I thought it was really interesting, given that there's not much to watch, like not many instruments like that go into electronic music. They really captured the fans' attention. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about fan engagement. Ashley, how are some ways that artists can do fan engagement really successfully?
Okay, so to start off, at the panel, they did a survey beforehand about what the top ways that people were interacting with fans, and obviously Facebook is the most popular right now, followed by streaming and email blasts. But what really surprised us a lot was Twitter and YouTube were farther down on the list at 7 and 8, and those are sites we use every day. So we expected those to be higher. But whenever you're interacting specifically with your fans, they gave us like 5 really easy ways to do this. The first being Facebook, obviously. The second is videos, which is a really quick and easy way if an artist is on tour or in the studio. Just posting, they don't have to be fancy, just post a video every week, every other week, say what you're up to, what cities you've been on, how writing's going. Just a way to give fans an update of what you're doing and how things are going. Others are live performances, which we'll talk about later, and giveaways, and more specifically ticket giveaways. Fans really like free stuff. Everyone likes free stuff. So a way that works is have a fan, if you're going to come to Nashville, write down like on Facebook, whoever promotes the show the most will be entered to win a ticket to the show or win a meet and greet. So that's a really good way to interact with your fans and still get your name out.
If I can add to that, when you post on Facebook or any social media site, especially Facebook, with timeline, post a photo with it. It's the way that timeline's set up. Photos look amazing, and it creates a lot more buzz. It gets more likes and more reblogs, which puts it on the top of news feeds and gets more reach. So that's just a little, yeah.
Ashley, I remember you saying something about one of the panelists said they were talking about fan engagement. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, so Linda McLaughlin, she was the moderator for the whole panel on fan engagement. She said you have to do something unique and different. And this plays a lot into your live performance. So if a fan's going to pay money to come see you, they really want to be entertained. And so as an artist, you need to make sure that you deliver that. So one suggestion that she made that I really like, but this kind of plays off what Rusty said with do it yourself. And so you're in a band. I know lots of people here are in a band. So I know lots of people who play house shows a lot. So the environment for that's really different than if you play at a venue. So she suggested that if you're going to play at a venue, to make that unique and different, go to Craigslist and go to thrift stores and get couches and get lamps and get anything that you can recreate that house show at the venue. So that makes it really different and special. I really liked that.
I don't know if anyone here went to the Jake Owen private concert here at Belmont, I guess last semester, I think. But he uses a really cool program to really connect with his fans. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's called Stage It. And that's something like I was familiar with before I went to South by Southwest, but I've never really looked into it. But it's becoming more and more popular. Like I'll see different artists I follow on Facebook saying that they're going to have a show on Stage It. So the way it works, it's an online concert experience. So you're an artist, you can be at home in your kitchen and you can play a show for any number of people. There's really just 3 steps when you're going to put on a show with Stage It. The first is obviously the show is created. So as an artist, you pick the day, the time, you post tickets to go up for sale. So the second is the fans buy the tickets. So even though you're playing online, it could be unlimited and you can just let anyone in. But the thing that they like to do is to keep your tickets limited. That makes it more valuable and exclusive, so it creates an appeal and a draw for you. And then the third is you have the show. So fans all log on, they can interact with the artist, they can tip the artist, so they can request songs. And then a lot of times artists will like use that money to donate to charities, and it's a nice way to give back.
I don't know if anyone here knows Ali Delgado personally, but she's a really passionate person. And if you have time at the end, if someone wants to ask her about the conspiracy theory between Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to talk about it. But one thing that I personally know Ali to be obsessed with is this idea of mixtapes and how they're very much not playlists. I was told that yesterday. So, Allie, what's the difference between a mixtape and a playlist? And what role do they play in the digital world?
A mixtape has a lot of rules, and playlists don't have any rules, is kind of the difference. A traditional mixtape is a 60 or a 90-minute cassette with uninterrupted audio. It's really thematic, it's really personal, it takes like hours to make. But the most important part is that you can't skip any songs, you have to listen to it all the way through. So in today's world where you can go on Spotify or YouTube and hear whatever you want, whenever you want it, that limitation is just a completely different experience. And it's really kind of what makes it different. So like whether it's like a cassette or just one long streaming track on the internet somewhere, it's really about finding someone whose taste you trust, like if it's a friend or a music blogger or a magazine, and just knowing that they're going to give you like an hour's worth of new and old music that you're probably going to like. So it's like a discovery tool, basically. And then playlists, on the other hand, are like more chaotic. It's when you go on Spotify and you click on something that says road trip, and it's like 800 songs of different genres and artists and eras.
Mostly Journey.
Mostly Journey, yeah. And it's a way to discover music, but it's more like you can click and listen and put it on shuffle or whatever. So the panel that I went to had people from Spotify there, and they're really adamant about how playlists are going to be the new standard of how you listen to music. And they're really, really into using playlists as a way to market your music, because it's really easy to, let's say like Warner Music gets 3 songs off Fun's new album and puts it on a playlist with 25 songs that inspired the band. They can just post it online, people can stream it and share it, and it's just a really easy way to engage fans.
I've heard you talk a lot about fan communities before, and it kind of doubles off what we were talking about with fan engagement. But can you tell us a little about fan communities and how artists will build one?
Yeah. Fan communities are kind of like a step up from fan engagement, because what Facebook and Twitter are good for is kind of showing what you like as a person. It's like building your own identity. Like you like a page or you favorite a tweet. But I went to this panel called Reblog Culture, Tumblr and Social Music Fandom, and that was a completely different animal, because the way that Tumblr is successful, and I'm sure like a bunch of you are on Tumblr, it's a great procrastination tool. It's like you have a real fan community that's made by mirroring the way that fans behave. And there's basically 3 things that they do. They make it really easy for you to discover new things. They really encourage you to like love the things that you like. Like there's not a like button, it's a little heart, or it's a reblog button. So you either like love it or you share it, and then that's the 3rd thing, is that you share it with your friends. And they were talking about this phenomenon called F yeah Tumblrs. And so you basically like, you'll go to fyeahLadyGaga.tumblr.com, and there's like 5 million pictures of Lady Gaga and unreleased tracks and remixes and videos and a bunch of user-generated content. And the difference is that like, if you're an artist who's going on tour or is about to release a record, like the person who likes you on Facebook may or may not make that purchase, but the person on Tumblr that's running that blog and is like making a 5-minute video about how Lady Gaga and Amy Winehouse are the same person is definitely going to make that purchase. So it's definitely.
Well, that's essentially our spiel. We can open it to audience Q&A if you just want to tweet using that hashtag. I guess the first question was, how much does it cost to go to South by? I can talk a little bit about that. We went through Belmont, and it was a $1,400 program fee for the course, which covered our transportation, housing, and obviously our badges. So at South by, there are several ways you can really get into things. The panels, the only way to get into panels is to have a South by Southwest accredited badge. Those are rather expensive. A lot of people go just for the shows, and you can get wristbands, or they're open to the public and you pay a cover. But the difference is, you could say, well, if it's open to the public, why don't you just be a public person and just go to what you want to? And a lot of people that live in Austin try to do that. But essentially, the lines are absolutely insane. I mean, it's one of the most crazy things I've ever seen in my whole life, waiting in line for some of these shows. Badge holders get priority. So if there's 10,000 people in a line and you have a badge, you're suddenly number 1, regardless of how many people are in that line or how long they've been waiting there. Because the badges are $750 if you walk in the bottom. The second priority is wristbands. So if you have a wristband, you can go to the front of the line behind the badge holders. So if the venue is at capacity and it's 1 in, 1 out, badge holder line, first in. I mean, if you're paying to get in at this point, you might as well just leave, because as long as there's a badge holder trying to get in, they're going to trump someone in the public trying to get in. Badges and it changes. If you buy them early, they're cheaper. If you buy them like the day of, I think badges this year were $750. So you can buy them earlier for cheaper. Wristbands, I thought were $175. Wristbands don't get you in the panels, they just get you in the music stuff. And then just pay per venue. It's just whatever the venue's charging, $15, $20. Just depends.
There's also a day rate. If you want to go to the panels, you can buy like one of those like stick-on passes I have no clue how much that is. I really don't know, but I know that you can go, like, if you just want to go for one day of panels, you can do that. But
having a badge was awesome. Like,
It
we didn't
was
wait
so
in a single
much
line,
I mean,
and like,
it's amazing.
I saw everybody I wanted to see. And most of the time, there's like you're staying for 5 minutes of a show and heading off to the next one.
Right.
So
Well, there's so many things going on at the same time. Like the South by Southwest schedule online is insane. There are over 5,000 different events that happen within this week's thing. So you literally have to. Our group sat down and planned out things like weeks in advance, months in advance, and starred events that we wanted to go to. And so much of it is TBA. I mean, Lil Wayne showed up like halfway through that no one knew. So the thing about the badges was, I mean, at first when I got there, I was thinking, okay, well, I want to do this and this and this, so I planned out the schedule, and I'll wait in line for this hour because I didn't know. And then it just miraculously happened that I could literally walk from show to show, and as long as the venue wasn't at capacity, you've got a very good shot at getting in. So I walked in to a Lil Wayne show when thousands of people are out there waiting to get in. I just walked right in. I also saw Eminem and 50 Cent perform together. It was the first time 50 Cent had performed in 10 years live at South by, and I literally walked in the venue as he got on stage. No wait, just went from show to show to show. The badges are incredible, so start saving because that's the way to go if you want to do that. I'm not sure if it's set in stone, but there's a chance that this course can happen again. So if you're interested in that, it was an awesome experience. And I'm sure the Curb Calls will probably put out information about that if it's something that they choose to reinstate. What was your favorite part of South by Southwest? Anybody?
fun was super.
Fun
is
I
want to say fun,
It was
but
super fun.
yeah, fun was super.
Okay, my favorite part was I actually ended up going to a Skrillex show, and I never thought I would. And I was standing there with Ashley, and all of a sudden, from like behind me, someone comes surfing over my head. I don't even know who it is, and I look at Ashley, and I'm like, I think that was Rusty. Turns out it was Rusty. He just like someone picked it up and like.
These two huge guys were next to me. I was like, I can't see the show. Porter Robinson and Skrillex are up there like dueling it off. I'm like, I gotta see this. I gotta do it now. Take me up. And like, I lay right next to him. It was awesome.
It was insane.
I think Skrillex did like
crazy.
Skrillex did like 10 shows that weekend. It was crazy.
He was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
He was everywhere.
Just like 3 times.
Anybody else favorite part?
That was my favorite.
Making friends. I know it's really cheesy. Like, I think I knew like 2 or 3 people before I went down there, and it was just really fun. Like, you can't go down with 15 other people and not become friends. You're together like all the time, going to shows and getting dinner and going to panels. So, yeah, I like to make new friends.
My favorite thing was, aside from just like the regular showcases, MTVU had their Woody's Award Festival there. So it was like a full day event, and they had artists playing all day, and it was just kind of like a mini festival, and everything was free. There was free food, free snacks, and you just got to hang out all day, and they were taping it for the TV special. So that was really cool. Just kind of get to go to a festival that, I mean, something equivalent probably would have cost $100 if you would have gone outside of South by Southwest, but it was something exclusive to that. And like you said, with the badges, we walked right in. We could come and go as we pleased, and that was really like my favorite thing about the badges. Obviously, I wanted to go to the panels and stuff during the day, and if I wouldn't have had that, I would have had to wait in line at shows all day and not really been able to work it out. So that was a cool opportunity.
I mean, another note on pricing, if I had paid just cash value for all the shows I saw at South by Southwest, it would have been exponentially more than we paid for badges at South by. It was insane. Bianca had a awesome experience at South by. It was like, I'm still kind of freaking out about it. There's a video on YouTube, but she can talk.
I got to perform with Timberland.
Everybody do that?
It's pretty cool.
Say it again.
I got to perform with Timberland somehow, some way, at South by Southwest.
She killed it.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Look at the
Pretty
video.
awesome experience. I actually seen another Belmont student in the audience there, which is crazy to meet on the other side of the world. It was pretty awesome. In between his set, he asked, were there any musicians in the audience? And thank God with my badge, I walked right into the venue and was in the very front, literally underneath the stage. And so I looked at the person next to me and said, well, I rap. and started laughing with that person, and Timberland was looking dead in my face and said, "Well, get on stage." And I was like, and so I got on stage, and
That's awesome.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's on YouTube. Find it. It's so cool.
I don't know where the video is, but it's pretty awesome.
It's on YouTube.
It's kind of awesome.
Just go find it.
We can probably find it later. It'll be on Twitter or college Facebook or Twitter or something like that. If it's appropriate. I don't know what song it is, so. But,
appropriate.
Apologize, right?
Yeah.
What was the most valuable piece of information you took from South by?
One thing I didn't touch on was that a lot of people kind of discarded Google Plus, and I think that's a huge mistake. Google Plus, I think it's Google first of all, and like we said with the growing, online shows, Google Hangouts, you can do exactly that. And there's people on Google Plus. There's, it's just thousands right now, but there's not a lot of bands. So if you're in a band, that's the place to be. Then just start throwing it out there. People will follow you from all over the world. Like my band just got on there. We only have like 450 people following us on Facebook. We have like 300 already on Google Plus, and we just joined it like 2 weeks ago. So it's a great way to get it out there. So
I think one thing I didn't touch on when I was talking about fan communities is that it's really important that when your fans are talking to each other, they don't just talk about you as a band. Like when they were talking about Stage It, the most popular feature of Stage It isn't actually like seeing the band, it's the little chat on the side when the fans can talk to each other. So as an artist, just being able to like facilitate that sort of communication is really important and like just really overlooked.
So Allie, you're saying while the Stage It concert is going on, the fans are talking to each other about it while it's happening?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
One thing that I really noticed a lot of the panels I went to, they talked a lot about artists engaging with their fans. And there was a quote, actually, someone said that it really stuck with me, but it was saying, as an artist, you don't owe your fans anything, they owe you everything. Like, the fans owe you everything. Because, if you think about it, they're supporting you. Without the fans, you're not going to exist, really. And another thing with social media,
I think you have that back.
yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, let me start over again. I just got really nervous, I'm sorry. Yeah, you and me were the same one. It was with the people from BET. Artists, you don't owe your fans anything, but as a... No. Obviously, I don't
you
know.
get the picture.
Fans don't owe you anything, but you owe your fans everything.
Sorry, guys. I obviously don't know what I'm saying now. I think I've said
She
it
didn't
three
actually
times,
go.
but
People might misuse about 3 hours a week.
yeah, true. And another thing with social media, if you're an artist, try not to talk about, oh, I'm playing this show this weekend. Oh, go buy my album. Because me as a fan, I don't care as much. But if you're talking more about your personal life, or like just like saying like, oh, this is really cool, talking about other things, you're really going to get people engaged. And they're going to really appreciate you as a person.
I would.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're probably match
on a panel that I went to, they were talking about some of these big record labels have kind of backed off a little bit with their artists' Twitters. And I don't know, I interned for Warner here in Nashville, and I don't know if anybody followed Blake Shelton on Twitter, but it's hysterical. Like it's really hysterical. And our publicity department's on the same floor, and every other hour they're like freaking out because Blake will tweet something just absolutely like, oh my gosh. Like I remember when I first followed on Twitter, I was like, he got hacked. There's no way like he's tweeting about some of the stuff that he tweets about. There's just no way that the publicity department would let him. But people love it. He's got like 1.7 million followers on Twitter, and they just eat it up and love to get into what he interacts with his fans and talks about his relationship with his wife and all of that. And it's really entertaining to watch. And at a panel they were talking about how it's really, as a bigger artist especially, it's cool to connect with your fans. But that's how you build a really loyal fan base. You look at Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber, like their fans will like die for them. It's like it's really kind of scary at times, actually. But it's just keeping in touch. There's a great way to do that. And those that if you talk less about come see me, and more of like have a personality. People will get to know you, and if the fans can connect to the artist as a person, that's just more of a connection.
I would say too, I mean, you have to imagine you're walking around South by Southwest and there's thousands of artists there and you're like, how in the world am I ever going to make it? How am I ever going to be able to get a fan base? And I would say something that you really have to figure out as an artist is who you are and what it is about you that makes you unique and what you can do about it. And something I would say I took away is that this is not for the weak, the faint of heart, and it's not for the lazy. You really have to pursue what it is and do really unique things. And I know, like, some of you probably heard about like Jack White tying his singles to the balloons and releasing like 1,000 balloons in Nashville. Like, really just find different unique things that it is that you can help to engage your fans or that you can do to capture the attentions of fans. And it's like Tori mentioned, like, you owe your fans everything. Get them engaged. They don't really have money to they don't have thousands of dollars, but ask them, say, hey guys, there was a young lady they were talking about who is an up-and-coming artist. I can't remember her name, but she has like so many fans following her on Twitter, and she says, hey, I need you fans to figure out how to get me to play with Death Cab for Cutie or some band that's playing at Bonnaroo. And like somehow her band's like, were following this other artist, and she's able now to like, play with them on a stage at Bonnaroo. So it's all about really just getting your fans involved and find something quirky, find something unique. It's almost a servanthood mentality. Like, how can you serve your fans and provide music for them, and in that they'll also help you and boost you up as an artist.
The craziest thing that I heard that I've come back here and I've told all my friends is that at a Facebook marketing panel that we went to, when a brand or an artist or anyone posts on their fan page, it's only reaching 16% of those fans, which I just thought was insane. So it goes down a lot to, timing and ensuring that you're going to get it hitting the most fans' news feeds at the particular moment that you post. And because the number of people that actually check now, I guess the Facebook timeline is incredibly low in comparison to how they receive the news in the news feed. So there's different keywords, and just the timing and everything is really important when it comes to Facebook. Obviously, you have to take into consideration if you have a fan base overseas, you don't want to be posting at 8 o'clock p.m. here when it's 3 in the morning over there. It's not going to reach them. So taking that into consideration and really strategically planning to reach the most amount of fans is really important.
Yeah, and that's really true when you think about, like, when's the last time you went to a celebrity's timeline and read their tweets? Or their posts, not tweets, or Twitter as well. Really, but if I get most everything from, like Bianca was saying, the actual news feed where it just shows up and that's happening, like or not, and then I'm not going to click and search unless there's something really deliberate that I'm looking for. But this is, when does this take place and where is it at? So this is South by Southwest Music Festival. It's always in Austin. And I think it's usually in like the third or second week in March. Always in March, but I think it was third week. Next year is March 7th through the 12th in Austin, Texas. And hotels are probably already booked. But, it's just something that's
Something to mention too. I know it seems like it's a really expensive thing, but it's more than shows. You're in rooms with people who are like big deal in the music business, so it's a great, I know networking is not fun for everyone, but you really are meeting people who know what they're doing. So you're also creating like contacts, and that's something else I think we should mention too, is that you are rubbing shoulders with men and women who are really know what they're doing. They're in the music industry. You're going to meet some, did you guys meet anybody that was like, who did that? Like some people you met?
And that's a huge network. This is an incredible networking opportunity. One thing we didn't really talk about are there are parties that go on during the day that you can RSVP to and go to and have lunch and talk to people there. At one of the parties, I met someone in a bluegrass band, and her husband is a gold medal Olympian who's going with NBC to the Olympics for like the Today Show or something like that, which was a great connection that I had because now I'm going to the Olympics with a different production company. And so we've actually been like talking to each other since South by about getting the production company that I'm working with on the Today Show. And it's like, that, in what universe does that happen? Like, South by is the only way that connection happened, and it's absolutely incredible.
On that note, this question is, were you able to network with industry professionals, or was it difficult to do with the festival going on? So that's kind of obvious.
Well, personally, I think during the day at the panels and at the parties, for me, the parties were the easiest way to network with people. The panels were pretty easy too because the people that are in the audience with you are also professionals, and the panelists are very open to talking to you most of the time. Some of them aren't, but most of them are. During like the actual showcases, I found it a little more difficult just because I was rocking out so much, but I don't know if like anyone else saw that.
I met him while I was crowd surfing.
Yeah, business cards.
I mean, I know I met someone at the panel and literally ran into them like 3 separate occasions at different shows. And they'd be like, hey, how are you? And we'd chat for a few minutes between bands. Like, it was totally cool. I mean, they're there as well to enjoy and see artists. As much as they're there, I mean, maybe they're there to support artists on their label or their management company, but they're also there to check out music that they're interested in. So I definitely like could tell that we had similar interests as I kept running into them. So
I mean, we brought our business cards. That was one of our requirements for our course, to make business cards. And I don't remember who was on the shuttle with us, but probably you. We were on a shuttle, and I mean, all the hotels are booked. So there are shuttles that go like from hotel to hotel to hotel, and it's everybody you meet is assumedly there for South by Southwest. And we met this Australian band, the Suburbians, and they're from like Australia, and they gave us their like free music and all of this stuff, and we gave them our contact information. Hey, if you're ever in Nashville, come play at Belmont, like things like that. And that happened pretty much every time we went back to the hotel. There was someone else in the shuttle with us that you just make conversation with, and it didn't, you don't know what office they're sitting in, Monday through Friday, so you could be talking to anybody, and it was an amazing time just to be there, and whoever's around the corner you can talk to.
I don't know if this girl from our group is here, Casey. No,
yeah, she got it.
Casey actually met a woman at South by Southwest. And the lady was looking for a freelancer blogger, is that what it was? And they stayed in contact post South by Southwest, and Casey actually just got hired a couple of days ago to freelance for the woman that she met at South by Southwest.
Was it VH1?
Similar case with me, I did Belmont East, and I interned for BET in 106 and Park, and I ran into all of the industry executives, all of the BET executives at South by Southwest. They put on a panel. Because of the person that I interned for, I got to meet everyone on their panel. So Kevin Lyles, the vice president of programming, Nas, Steve Stout, I got to meet all of these people because my old boss introduced me to everyone. So.
And you kind of ended up working helping out their parties. She ended up on site there. Hey, can you help us? Because they had a level of comfort and familiarity with Miss B, and she ended up kind of working a lot of their events at South Park with her.
If you're serious about being in the music industry, you got to do it.
We were at a show. We were at the Fearless Records show, and I was standing next to this guy that was just kind of sitting there drinking and listening to Breathe Carolina on stage, and they got really excited about something and saw some of the audience and leapt off stage and like tackled this guy next to me and pulled him through the crowd, and it was the CEO of the record label that I was standing next to. Who knows how long? And it's just things like that. But let's see. One thing that you learn that will help you on the job in the future: time and place, networking. Going along with like a lot of these people, you have to kind of read people really, because we were in panels, and a lot of times like. You go to some of these panels, and the people that are panelists on them are just really, really elite people and have their own, like everyone wants to be in contact with them. So you really have to, it kind of goes either way, because we talk about this a lot in the Curve College, but they would be just attacked when the panels are over. The whole room just goes to the front, and these people are trying to get to the back of the room, like leaving. And if they remember you, it's kind of a judgment call on whether or not to throw your CD at them or yell your name or something like that. But you kind of see opposite ends of the spectrum on what's good or what's not. And Dan Keene actually talked a little bit about this, about finding alternate ways to network outside of the original. Hi, I don't know what to say to you, but please hire me or something. And find them later, or kind of just be a creep and follow them inconspicuously, or if they're going to buy a bagel or drink some water, get in line behind them and just strike up casual conversation.
You'll probably see him again.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's just time and place for that. It was something that I learned that I think can help me later on, just networking wise. Is Grimes overrated live?
No, dude, she's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's hit or miss sometimes. I saw her at the Pitchfork
She was
show.
so good.
She's
She was
okay.
so good. Okay, I saw her. She was sick.
She was
like
sick.
she couldn't hit the notes, and like she warned us beforehand. And she was one of the most enthralling performances that I saw, because she just made her entire song. She's like, and was like reaching over, and it was insane. She's really awesome. I kind of have a crush on her now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Were we involved at all with the fashion or film scene? We had music badges, which happens to overlap the fashion conference at South by Southwest, which is great. So our badges got us into the fashion shows and stuff. So it's kind of an opposite deal, but it was pretty cool. If you're into that kind of thing, you can go and see the trade show or actually watch the fashion shows or anything like that. That was cool. The film festival is a different world. So there are three main things at South by. You get music, interactive, and film, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Music, interactive, and film. The music badge, only music things. The film badge, only film. The interactive badge, only interactive. The platinum badge, all of it. The gold badge, all of it, and not so much that the platinum does. There's different levels, but
It only happens for 2 weeks. So the first week is all interactive, the second week is all music, and film actually happens the second half of the first week and the first half of the second week. And if you are there for music and you have a music badge, you can still get into some of the film screenings. You have to like wait outside like you would if you didn't have a badge, obviously. And so, but a lot of the film screenings like aren't 100% full. So as long as it like about 5 minutes before it's about to start, if you're in line and you don't have a badge, they'll still let you in. So I mean, there's an option to go.
And also, just really one last thing, if you really don't have any money to go, I know a young woman who goes to Belmont who volunteered the whole entire film week. She worked the entire week. It was a lot of work, but she got her music pass for free. So she got a badge for free. So that's another option if you don't have money. You can volunteer.
We're almost done here. We have one more question. I just want to mention we created a Spotify playlist that has a lot of the stuff that we liked and went on, and we'll share that link on the Curve College Twitter and Facebook after this. So be on the lookout for that. You can subscribe to that playlist if you want. We all added stuff to it. And just real quick before we leave, what was everybody's favorite show?
Jack White.
Jack White?
Keen.
Keen?
Love that.
I want to say fun. I mean, I know that's really popular to say now, but they are amazing live. Like they really are just as good live.
Yeah, we saw
that was really cool.
We saw them play acoustic.
And the sound went out, so it was just them singing a cappella.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
Sleigh Bells and Cloud Nothings just like shredded harder than I've ever seen anyone shred before in their lives. It was awesome.
Well, we'll be around here, just hanging out at the front, and we've got. Don't anybody need to like run yet because we have the 5 people. So. But if you have any more questions, we'll be down here.